As the ground luminosity dawns at death, an experienced practitioner will maintain full awareness and merge with it, thereby attaining liberation. But if we fail to recognize the ground luminosity, then we encounter the next Bardo, the luminous Bardo of Dharmata. The Sanskrit word Dharmata, chuni in Tibetan, means the intrinsic nature of everything, the essence of things as they are. Dharmata is the naked, unconditioned truth, the nature of reality, or the true nature of phenomenal existence. What we are discussing here is something fundamental to the whole understanding of the nature of mind and the nature of everything. The end of the dissolution process and dawning of the ground luminosity has opened up an entirely new dimension, which now begins to unfold. One helpful way to explain it is to compare it with the way night turns into day. The arising of the ground luminosity is like the clarity in the empty sky just before dawn. Now, gradually, the sun of Dharmata begins to rise in all its splendor, illuminating the contours of the land in all directions. The natural radiance of Rigpa manifests spontaneously and blazes out as energy and light. Just as the sun rises in that clear and empty sky, the luminous appearances of the Bardo of Dharmata will all arise from the all-pervading space of the ground luminosity. The name we give to this display of sound, light and color is spontaneous presence, for it is always and inherently present within the expanse of primordial purity, which is its ground. What is actually taking place here is a process of unfoldment, in which mind and its fundamental nature are gradually becoming more and more manifest. The Bardo of Dharmata is one stage in that process, for it is through this dimension of light and energy that mind unfolds from its purest state, the ground luminosity, towards its manifestation as form in the next Bardo, the Bardo of becoming. The Bardo of Dharmata has 4 phases, each one of which presents another opportunity for liberation. If the opportunity is not taken, then the next phase will unfold. In the Dzogchen Tantras, it is taught that only through the special advanced practice of luminosity, Sogyal, can the true significance of the Bardo of Dharmata be in any real sense understood. If you have the stability to recognize the manifestations of this Bardo as the self-radiance of your own Rigpa, you will be liberated. But without the experience of Sogyal practice, you will be unable to look at the visions of the deities that appear, which are as bright as the sun. Instead, as a result of the habitual tendencies of your previous lives, your gaze will be drawn downward to the 6 realms of samsaric existence. It is those that you will recognize and which will lure you again into delusion. The key to understanding this Bardo is that all experiences that take place in it are the natural radiance of the nature of our mind. What is happening is that different aspects of its enlightened energy are being released. Just as the dancing rainbows of light scattered by a crystal are its natural display, so too the dazzling appearances of Dharmata cannot be separated from the nature of mind. They are its spontaneous expression. But now that we are no longer grounded or shielded by a physical body or world, the energies of the nature of mind released in the Bardo state can look overwhelmingly real and appear to take on an objective existence. They seem to inhabit the world outside of us, and without the stability of practice, we have no knowledge of anything that is non-dual, that is not dependent on our own perception. Once we mistake the appearances as separate from us, as external visions, we respond with fear or hope, which leads us into delusion. Just as in the dawning of the ground luminosity, recognition was the key to liberation, so here in the Bardo of Dharmata it is also. Only here it is the recognition of the self-radiance of Rigpa, the manifesting energy of the nature of mind, that makes the difference between liberation or continuing in an uncontrolled cycle of rebirth. Now we can see exactly how, after the dawning of the ground luminosity and the Bardo of Dharmata, samsara actually arises as a result of two successive failures to recognize the essential nature of mind. In the first, the ground luminosity, the ground of the nature of mind is not recognized. If it had been, liberation would have been attained. In the second, the energy nature of the nature of mind manifests, and a second chance for liberation presents itself. If that is not recognized, arising negative emotions start to solidify into different false perceptions, which together go on to create the illusory realms we call samsara, and which imprison us in the cycle of birth and death. The whole of spiritual practice, then, is dedicated to reversing this progress of ignorance, and so of decreating, desolidifying those interlinked and interdependent false perceptions that have led to our entrapment in the illusory reality of our own invention. Just as when the ground luminosity dawned at the moment of death, here too in the Bardo of Dharmata, liberation cannot be taken for granted. For when the brilliant light of wisdom shines out, it is accompanied by a display of simple, comforting, cozy sounds and lights, less challenging and overwhelming than the light of wisdom. These dim lights, smoky, yellow, green, blue, red and white, are our habitual unconscious tendencies accumulated by anger, greed, ignorance, desire, jealousy and pride. These are the emotions that create the 6 realms of samsara: hell, hungry ghost, animal, human, demigod and god realms respectively. If we have not recognized and stabilized the Dharmata nature of mind in life, we are instinctively drawn toward the dim lights of the 6 realms as the basic tendency toward grasping which we have built up during life begins to stir and awaken. Threatened by the dynamic brilliance of wisdom, the mind retreats. The cozy lights, the invitation of our habitual tendencies, lure us towards a rebirth, determined by the particular negative emotion that dominates our karma and our mind stream.